Hello crafty friends, welcome to another background busting video. Today I've picked 6 backgrounds from my box of backgrounds and bits that are all fairly solid. There's not a lot of white card showing through the inking or the painting or the smushing. And I've selected 6 fairly large foliage dies to die cut my panels with. So the first thing I'm going to do is place my branches, my foliage, where I want it, hold it down with a bit of tape. This is low-tack tape, which means it shouldn't damage the panels at all. It will peel off nicely when I want it to. Right, I've die cut all these and I'm just removing the die carefully and the die cut from the background. What I want now from each of these backgrounds is a smaller panel, and I want to position the aperture made by the foliage die in a pleasing place. So now I've got my card, I could take my panel and stick that on in the middle, to the side, wherever I wanted it. I think I want to trim it down a little bit further though. I want to bevel the edges of this. Just means curving them over a little bit like that, so they look less trimmer cut and more die cut. Just makes them look a little bit neater and more polished, I think. For this panel I've got some white glue and my glue dotter, and I'm just going to dot that on the back here to make sure all the little bits have got some glue on and will stick down properly. I can just add some glue straight from the bottle to these areas here. Could mount this on a panel. In fact, let me think before I go sticking it down willy-nilly. So I don't think I'm going to put this on a panel. I'm going to pop it straight on the card over to the left-hand side. Let me just make sure that looks straight. And I'm going to use a bit of non-stick paper to protect the card from mucky fingerprints, and just press that down, and that will do for now. I'm liking that, nice and light and airy. So for this one I think I want to take a little bit off of the top and the bottom so that it has a little border. I'm also going to take some off the sides as well. We'll do the same thing again, just add the glue around there. If you want to know how to make a glue dotter, there is a video linked down below. So we're going for a full panel there really, with just a little border around the outside. I'm very happy with that, nice and light and airy. I am keeping these bits because you can always use those on another card. This one is quite a tall, thin piece of foliage, so I'm going to make a tall, thin panel. A lot of the backgrounds that I'm using in this Bust Your Background series I made in March's videos. So if you want to see how I made a lot of these backgrounds, then check out my videos from March 2025. Just using a tweezer to coax these bits into the right places. Right, really pleased with that. Again, this one is quite tall and thin, so I'm going to slice into a tall, thin panel. But I think I will give this one a black matte. So I've put glue on the back of that, as I've done on the previous ones. I'm going to put that there and trim that out. We'll add some tape runner to the back of that. And I think off to the left, because this area here will be nice for sentiment. Slightly wonky down there, but hey ho, it's a handmade card. This one, I think I'm going to die cut out a panel using a stitched rectangle die, just for something a bit different. You could always cut your panels down to the size you want them for the card and then cut the leaves out. You don't have to do it this way around. And of course you don't have to do foliage. You could die cut anything you like out of this. So this can go straight on here. So I've used that same foliage die to die cut this out of matte champagne gold cardstock. And now that could be inlaid into there, so it's actually nice and flat and level with this, or you could put it on top and offset it slightly so that you can see the white peeking out from behind. And I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to put it on top, offset. Find with foiled cardstock, if you get any glue on, you can use a damp baby wipe and just brush over it and it should take the glue off. For this last one, there's a bit that I need to take out of this piece of foliage, and that, when it goes on the card, is going to go in there to complete the picture. So I want to give this bit a black mat around the outside, but I want this bit behind the flowery bit, the leafy bit, to be white. So I'm going to stick this onto this white linen textured cardstock and pop that on there. Doesn't really matter where it goes. So I'm going to trim it down. This bit I'm going to dip in glue and pop where it looks right. Now I'm going to trim this right to the edge. Now that can go on there like that. So put some double-sided sticky on the back of that, and I'm going to die cut this out. It's going to peel the backing off of this. It's very fiddly. Try not to rip it because it's so delicate. I'm going to put this on here, offset again, and because it's sticky I can just press it into place. So that's the foundations of my cards ready to go. Of course, now you've got these beautiful little floral leafy branchy die cuts that you could now use on a card. You could use one on a card or a couple on a card. That's a project for another day, I think. So for these 4 cards, I've got these outline sentiment dies, and I'm going to cut them from gold foil card. I put some double-sided sticky on the back already, and I'm going to back these with a white card. Now I shall trim these out very carefully, angling my scissors slightly underneath the gold die cut so that no white is showing. I'm just going to use glue to stick these down. Give me a bit of a wiggle time. About a third of the way up the card there. I'll use my T-square ruler just to push that so that it's nice and straight on the card. So I was wondering, are you a use it or lose it type of person? Do you look at things in your stash and think, well, I haven't used them for a while, so I'm going to pass them on? Or do you keep things in the hopes that one day you will use them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. For these 2 cards, I've cut out some sentiments. This is Here For You, hanging there, which I think go well with the slightly sombre nature of these. I'm going to back them with silver instead of gold. Just feel that's more appropriate. Brings in a little bit of shimmer and shine. I want to add a few finishing touches. So I'm going to put a few gold glitter Nouveau drops in some of the leafy areas. And once I've done all that, I'll come back and show you the final cards. Right, as promised, here are the finished cards. So with this one, all I did was add some Gold Coast Nouveau glitter drops around the sentiment to draw the eye to that area. What I did do when I put the drops on was I slapped the card like that onto my mat, and that makes the drops flatten and spread out a bit, so you get flatter, rounder drops. This is the one where I filled in some of the leafy bits with the Gold Coast. Not sure this area works particularly well, but the rest look okay, I think. For this one, I just put the gold glitter drops in the little heart seed head parts, and I did a few little dots in the middle there. I think that really brings this part of the card to life. The sentiment is kind of the boldest part that grabs your attention first, I think, but then the gold glitter draws your attention up to there. For this one, I chose to use white Nouveau drops and clustered them around the sentiment again, and I think they show up quite nicely. Didn't need any more gold on this one, I don't think, so white works. For this Here For You card, I used Morning Dew Nouveau drops and added them onto the circular ends of the branches. Morning Dew dries completely clear, so now what was quite flat now has a little bit of gloss, a bit of dimension, and some textural interest, I think. Similarly with this one, I added White Blizzard Nouveau drops to the berry type parts of this branch. This has an iridescent glitter in it and shows up as a kind of blue on the black background, and I really like that. I think it tones in nicely and just brings in a little bit of shimmer and shine, but it's not too in your face for a hang in there type card. For these two cards, I used the bits that I die cut out of the backgrounds. I thought I'd make use of them now rather than have them float around my craft room and get damaged. So I put 2 on each card. The other 2 did get a bit torn when I pulled them out of the die, so those did go in the bin, unfortunately. So I tried to create a bit of contrast. I've got a darker one on top and a lighter one in the background. I did spatter on some copper metallic paint behind the leafy bits. I die cut out So Grateful from some matte rose gold copper type foil card, and then I added some copper penny Nouveau drops around the sentiment, again to draw the eye down there. On this one I put some crystal glaze on the heart parts of the seed head. These did change the pink a little bit, they kind of bleached the colour out of the ink that was on there. But I really like the way that turned out. I think it adds a little bit of something extra to that die cut. And there you go, 6 backgrounds busted, 8 cards made. Really pleased with the way these have turned out. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's given you some ideas. If it has, do let me know in the comments. Leave a thumbs up, and if you want to see more from me, please subscribe and ring the notification bell. And I'll see you back here very soon for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.